Why you fail your goals. So this is kind of, probably seems like a little bit of a weird title, but I'm basically going to talk about why people fail goals they set. And I'm going to try and relate it to language learning because this is a language learning channel. But if you're just watching this to understand why people give up / fail goals, that's completely fine as well. So my promise to you is by the end of this video, you'll understand why people fail goals and how to stop it from happening. And I'm going to keep that promise. But I will say, I think most people in general, when they set themselves goals, and you'll probably agree with this, they fail, and especially with language learning. I think it's like 99% plus for classroom language learning. People fail. And yeah, you probably agree to that. It's kind of obvious. So that's what we're going to be talking about. If you like this kind of educational content, subscribe. I've got a link in my description to my free Discord, and let's go. So what is goal death? I'll just start off with defining a few things. When I say goal death, it's a little bit different to not achieving a goal. So goal death means basically giving up on a goal / self-sabotage. If you think about it, even if you say like, I'm going to learn a language by the end of the year, even if you don't learn by the end of the year, say it takes you 2 years, you still kind of achieved your goal. You just didn't do it in the right time frame. So no one can really take your goal away per se. They can't, like, you cannot meet all of the goal's requirements, but if you keep trying, eventually you will achieve a goal. If you say I'm going to learn by the end of the year and you don't do it, that's what I'm going to call like failing, for example. You didn't quite meet the goal, which is a learning experience, because it's not a bad thing to fail. Failure is a great learning experience. It's either win or learn, not win or lose. When I say goal death, what I mean is actually giving up on a goal and self-sabotage, which we'll also talk about because I think it's really interesting how people sabotage their own goals, sometimes without knowing it, sometimes with knowing it. It's quite interesting, so we'll get into that. But goal death is literally, you set a goal and then you give up on it. You stop actually working towards your goal. Whereas with failing, you are working towards your goal, you just didn't quite meet the line you drew in the sand, for example. So the reason goal death is a really important topic to discuss is because most language learners don't just fail their goal. Think about it. If language learners just failed their goal, it would be like they say, I'm going to learn a language in this time, and then it takes a bit longer and maybe they're not quite as good as they thought and they don't end up going on a holiday, but they can speak the language afterwards. That would be most language learners just failing. It's kind of worse than that. Most language learners actually, they don't just fail, they actually kill their goal because they give up. They don't even want to speak the language anymore, or they kind of do, but they stop trying, you know what I mean? So why does this happen so much? Why do people give up on their goals in life so much? And I find this topic really, really interesting. So I was interested to make this video. But to explain why people give up on goals, I've got a chart here that I found that I actually made my lock screen, and I'm going to sum it up in a paragraph. But let's go through this chart first. So why people give up on goals. If you want to pause the video and look at it for a bit longer, or screenshot it, there we go, that's probably screenshotable there. I'll take the cursor off it. You can, but let's just go through it. So expect fast results, stop believing themselves, get stuck in the past, dwell on mistakes, fear the future, resist change, give up their power, blah, 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 blah. You can stop it and read it fully if you want. But to sum up why people give up on a goal, it's generally mindset problems. They're basically all to do with mindset, with a couple other things like lack of discipline, for example. They can't deal with doing hard things. So the number one thing I will say is if you want complete control over achieving a goal you set yourself, you have to take control of your mind. And I know people want to skip that when there's like a guide to doing something, they want to skip the mindset part. And like, I understand a lot of the time it's the YouTuber bullshitting, but having the mindset is so important when you set a goal and just the foundation. And we're going to go through that on the next slide. And I will say, yes, people do fail goals for other reasons. Like, for example, they set too high standards, they're disorganized, etc. But that's why most people fail that's those things, like, for example, setting standards too high, disorganized, for example, those are reasons why people fail their goals, why they don't actually, meet that line in the sand in the time they set themselves. But that's not why they give up, because even if you're busy, you don't have to give up on something. Even if you've got really high standards and you say, I'm going to learn a language in 1 week, obviously you're not going to do that, but you can still, pull yourself back together and keep going after that. You can set yourself a new time frame. But they don't, because they don't just give up, they actually kill their goal. So now that we've kind of addressed why people give up, let's actually talk about how you can kind of stop that from happening. So the best thing you can do to prevent goal death is to follow this kind of system I've set up. So the first thing you need to do starts before you actually do anything, and that's set SMART goals. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. We kind of got taught this in school. I am a younger person, so there's a high chance if you're, late 20s, you likely didn't see any of this. But this is kind of a system for setting efficient goals. So when you want to learn a language, before you do anything, don't just jump into it, because if you just want to dabble, that's fine. But if you're committed to learning a language, jumping into it is a really, really bad idea without having having a little think about the kind of goal you want to set yourself. So if you are looking to learn French, for example, as a random language, doesn't matter. You should set yourself a specific goal. So you don't actually know how long it's going to take you to be able to learn French. So I'd recommend you set a short-term goal. For example, I'm going to study 1 hour this week, and then next week I'll do 2 hours. Anything like that. You're going to set yourself an amount of time you're going to study on a weekly basis. Measurable means you kind of know when you've achieved your goal. So you could say, my long-term goal is I want to be able to speak French conversationally. And yeah, you can set a measurable, you can say that that's your long-term goal without saying a specific time you want to be able to speak it conversationally, so long as you know what you need to do in the short term. Achievable is kind of something, it either is or it isn't. Obviously, you can become conversational in French eventually. You're not going to become conversational in French tomorrow. But yeah, if you just say, I'm going to do this, a few hours a week until I can learn speak French, that would be obviously an achievable goal. Relevant is a little bit of an odd one out of these 5 things. It basically means, is this goal in line with your kind of long-term goals? So if you want, as a random example, if you wanted to learn French so that you could live in a country overseas that doesn't speak French, that would not be a relevant goal because it doesn't make any sense to do that. If you, for example, wanted to learn French for a specific reason, such as, a lot of people want to learn it for family, friends, to travel to that country, etc. Even, I'll say that in a minute. All of those reasons, then obviously that's relevant. You have a reason to learn that language. And I think relevancy is maybe even the most important thing here, just because a lot of people give up because they forget their motivation. Relevancy is your motivation. You have a reason for learning this language. Don't forget it. The thing I would say in a minute is, some people want to learn a specific language, not because of family or friends, because they want to learn a language, and that's absolutely fine. Just make sure you find some reason to learn that specific language. So when I learned Italian, I didn't really have a reason to learn it specifically. I wanted to go there. I'm not gonna die if I don't go there. There's no reason. I have no family members who speak Italian. I wanted to learn a language because I thought it was cool, and I liked the idea of learning Italian. So I made it my kind of goal to learn Italian so that I can go there one day, maybe work there if I'm, working a job where I can work on my laptop, for example. Holiday there. I just think it's a cool country. And that was my goal. And that's okay. You're allowed to have that goal. Not a massively important, purposeful goal, but here we are. I'm teaching other people, so maybe it is purposeful. And then time bound means a specific time frame. Obviously, you can't say, you don't know how long it will take to become conversational in a language because you've never learned a language properly before. Your native language doesn't count. But you can just say, it's kind of the same as measurable. You can just say, I'm going to do this amount each week. And the reason setting this goal, and I've spent so much time on setting the goal, is because it's the foundation. We're talking about goal death, and then we're starting with how to actually set a good goal. If you don't set a good goal, it's kind of like a little bit grim, the thought that just popped into my head. Should I say it? Oh, I'm not going to get cancelled. It's kind of like, like a stillborn baby. That's kind of grim, but it's like your goal is dead before it even existed, if you know what I mean. So yeah, you need to saddle yourself with a good goal, not a crap goal. And if you set yourself a bad goal, you're not even going to want to achieve it, which is why a lot of people give up. So make sure the goals you're setting are in line with all of those things. It's achievable and it's something you actually want to do. The second thing you can do to prevent goal death is a growth mindset. So as we looked here before, I said mindset is the reason behind, if you want to pause the video again and look at these things, most of them are mindset. They're believing in weaknesses, they're not believing in themselves, they want fast results, they don't understand how to actually make progress, etc. They want to give up because they're failing. And the thing about that is, you're not going to get anywhere if you don't have a growth mindset. A growth mindset literally means results are the product of the effort you put in. You believe that your ability in something is directly tied to how hard you tried it. And of course, the reason the growth mindset is good is because it's true. That is how you get better at something, by putting more effort in. But the problem is most people have a fixed mindset, which is the opposite of a growth mindset, and they believe that they can't make progress in anything. Progress comes from natural talent and luck, or people just lying on the internet. That's a big one as well. And the third one, they're lying, sometimes is true, but it's certainly not universally true. You can make progress in basically anything by trying hard. So not having this growth mindset means you have no incentive to work hard, because why would you work hard at something if you don't believe it'll go anywhere? You don't put fuel in a car if you think fuel won't power the car. You do put fuel in a car because you understand that fuel is what allows the car to drive. And that's kind of like putting in effort to get better at something. So you will struggle, you will make mistakes, but as long as you do stuff, you can and will make progress in a language. And I don't want you to give up because you think it's like some silly made up thing and you can't actually make progress. You will think that at some point. Like, I still sometimes get that feeling now. I'm able to squash it easily because I've already learned one second language. So I'm learning Russian at the moment. So I know that it is possible because I've already learned it with Italian. But yeah, anyway, number 3, efficient systems. So if you've heard of James Clear or the book Atomic Habits, I haven't actually read it. I'm going to read it, but I've seen summaries of it and I understand a lot of the theory behind it. There's an idea of goals versus systems. So goals, you obviously know what a goal is. It's something you want to achieve. A system is basically your method in the short term of making progress. So a goal, for example, might be learn Italian. A system would be study Italian 5 hours a week, do these things, for example, flashcards, watch vlogs, read, take notes, etc. That's a really bad version of a system, by the way, but you get the point. And there's a lot of debate over what's better, goals versus systems. I think that's a really stupid debate because they're not the same thing, and they're both extremely useful in different ways. I don't think it should be goals versus systems or goals over systems or anything like that. It's goals and systems. So you need both of these things. We've already talked about goals. The system is literally your plan for progressing towards a goal. So for example, your system might be, I'm going to do 2 decks of flashcards every single day. So you might have a stack of flashcards which are, colors, numbers, and, greetings like hello, goodbye in the language. It might be 20 cards, for example. And then you just do that twice a day, and you'll literally after a week, you'll know basically all of those words. Like, you do the flashcard, you look at one side, you check the other side, see if you were right, etc. If you don't know how to do flashcards, check out my video on it. I'll have it pop up on the screen right now. But yeah, by system, I think a lot of people, they say they want to learn a language, for example, but they don't actually set themselves like almost like a to-do list of things they need to do to actually learn the language. Because you can't just learn Russian, for example. It's not something you can download into your brain. When you say I'm going to learn Russian, you're actually learning 1,000 different micro skills within the language. You're learning greetings in Russian, you're learning numbers in Russian, you're learning grammar rules in Russian, you're learning how to conjugate verbs, you're learning how to talk in the past tense, you're learning how to address people that are more important than you, you're learning how to address people that are less important to you, you're learning how to thank people, manners, etc. You're learning a gazillion different micro skills in any language. And instead of actually saying, okay, I'm going to do this week and, tick it off when I do it, people just say, I'm going to learn the language. And then it's like trying to eat an elephant. They're trying to eat the whole elephant in one go. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you need to actually do it one step at a time, and people don't do that. So yeah, definitely check out my video on habit trackers. I'll also have linked in the description my video. I'll have linked in the description my video on language, on flashcards, habit trackers, and high ROI language learning tasks, which are just important things to do when you're learning a language, because all of those videos are very useful. And then the fourth thing I'd say is document progress /win stack. So this is a little motivation thing. When you actually make progress in a language, tick it off, make yourself a to-do list and tick the to-do list off. You can make a notes file on your phone called wins and literally just write down one win for each day, and you can look back over it. It's a really good motivation. Really easy to do as well. It takes like 10 seconds every single day, and you can look back on it. But yeah, my promise was by the end of this video, you'll know why people fail goals and how to kind of stop it from happening from now on. I hope I've kept that promise to you guys. If you have any questions, comment down below. Definitely hit the subscribe button because I put in a lot of effort to help you for free, and it makes me feel better about that. And yeah, I've got links in the description to my website where I've got my coaching, link to my Discord, which is completely free. I'd highly recommend you check it out. And yeah, have a good one, and thank you for watching.